And welcome to CNR Extra here on Citi TV, coming to you live from our studios at number 5, Ola Hansen Lane, Tesano, Accra. My name is Philip Ni Latte. Coming up, Supreme Court declares President Akufo-Addo's decision to force Auditor General Domelevo on leave unconstitutional.
I don't think that will be repeated on any constitutional body or any Auditor General. That is my happiness. But I'm equally sad that the highest office of the land, which is the presidency, is at the forefront of not respecting the constitution of the country. I found it a bit disturbing.
Telecom centers in Accra experience dwindling activity amid SIM card registration deadline.
Because of the COVID, our office bought some SIM card and we had to register them in our names. And they've started calling me to do the activation for them. If not, they can't work. That's the reason why.
Faulty street lights raise safety concerns as darkness engulfs major roads in the national capital, Accra.
These street lights, I think, is off for over 3.5 years now. You report it to the authority, they will tell you they will come. Anytime you go, you contact them, they will come. But still now, when in the night you see a little robbing here, people mobile phone will be taken. They put knife on them.
And later on CNR Extra, Ghana National Fire Service launches investigation into fire outbreak at Madina Race Junction in the Greater Accra region, which led to the destruction of over 50 structures.
I was at home around 11 o'clock when I heard a call that the place is on fire. So I drove here and I saw that my place has been consumed by the fire. And there was nothing I could do. So I just watched it as the fire brought all down.
Once again, you're welcome to CNR Extra here. You can join us with your thoughts, submissions, and comments via WhatsApp line 0204447033. We are streaming live on YouTube. You can join us there on CityTube. Me, Latte. You're welcome to the show,
Thank
my
you,
brother.
Philip, for having
How are you doing?
I'm well. How are you too?
It's a nice morning.
Yeah, the weather is keeping you cool.
Cool weather in Accra. Let's bring you the very first story, and that is from the Supreme Court, where it has declared President Akufo-Addo's decision to force Auditor General Domelevo on leave as unconstitutional.
Start with the Supreme Court because it has declared as unconstitutional the decision by President Akufo-Addo for former Auditor General Daniel Domelevo to go on forced leave. Now, Mr. Domelevo was in 2020 forced by the presidency to go on 167 working days leave. We have more on this report.
These were accumulated leave days undertaken by Domelevo, according to the presidency. The presidency, in a letter on June 29, 2020, initially directed Daniel Domelevo to embark on a 123 working day mandatory leave. According to the letter, the then Auditor General, since the appointment in 2016, had taken only 9 out of his 132 working days leave. The presidency at the time insisted that the actions of the president were grounded in law, as the Labour Act mandates all public sector workers, including the Auditor General, to take the mandatory leave for which they cannot forfeit. The presidency, in justifying the decision, cited what it described as a similar decision taken by late President Atamios, directing then Auditor General Edward Agyemang to go on an accumulated leave. This decision was rejected by Daniel Domelevo, who pointed out to the president that he had no powers to take such a decision. In an interesting response, the president added 44 more days to the accumulated leave, making it 167. The Center for Democratic Development and 9 other civil society organizations, who described the move as an affront to the independence of the office, applied to the Supreme Court for a declaration that the action by the president was unconstitutional and null and void. The suit filed in October 2020 was necessitated by failure of President Akufo-Addo to rescind the directive after several appeals. The Apex Court, after 2 years of hearing the matter, on Wednesday delivered its judgment and upheld the plea of the applicants. While the decision has been warmly received, the delay in resolving the matter timeously has been criticized. Daniel Domelevo, however, says it's better late than never.
A good decision which has come at long last, and there are several people who reach out to me to say, is justice delayed, which is justice denied? But my response to them always is that I think the justices of the Supreme Court know better, so they know why this time and not earlier on. But let me say that from my point of view, it's better late than never. So from today going, I don't think that will be repeated on any constitutional body or any Auditor General. That is my happiness.
The former Auditor General, however, says is only concerned that the high office of the president is involved in such an illegality. He has thus urged the president to respect the Constitution.
But I'm equally sad that the highest office of the land, which is the presidency, is at the forefront of not respecting the Constitution of the country. I found it a bit disturbing. And even when I drew their attention, they told me that because I am not a lawyer, I don't appreciate the law. I am hoping that they will write to the Supreme Court to tell them that they have to go back for law classes, since they have upheld the position that I was pushing forward.
Asked whether he wants to seek further actions based on the judgment, Daniel Domelevo answered in the negative.
What type of redress? The battle is for the Lord. The most important thing is that the Supreme Court has spoken and clarified what the situation is. And I'm happy they've done that, because many Ghanaians thought that there were some things untoward that I had done, which is the reason why the presidency said I should take the lead. So now that I think I feel vindicated, I don't think I need any redress beyond that. Many people have suggested it, and I jokingly tell them that, look, why would I take redress so to get compensation from taxpayers who did nothing to me because of a president who doesn't pay tax? So I'm not interested in any further action.
So the former Auditor General, that is Daniel Domelevo, made mention of a number of things in the interview. You can find that interview on our platform, that is citinewsroom.com. He made mention of the fact that the ruling is better late than never. Also, at the forefront of the president or the government is not respecting the Constitution. But also one individual who was in there and asking government to rescind its decision, that is the President Akufo-Addo. That is a political science lecturer at the University of Ghana, Professor Ransford Jampo. And he has praised the Supreme Court's ruling, which described the former Auditor General Daniel Domelevo's forced leave as unconstitutional. And Professor Jampo, he was part of the groups that called on President Akufo-Addo to rescind his decision, describing the ruling as a victory for democracy.
Philip, very interesting development from the Supreme Court yesterday. If you ask me, why am I saying this? Just because when this particular issue came up, you remember that a lot of civil society organizations and also some anti-graft bodies and, political watchers sounded that caution to the president that the action he had taken, forcing the former Auditor General to go on his accumulated leave, was illegal and that he must reconsider his decision. However, it was interesting to find out the response and the posturing of, the office of the president, the presidency, in that letter that was issued by, Nana Asante to and then trying to justify why exactly the Auditor General then must go on accumulated leave, saying that because the Auditor General lacks the understanding of the law, he is trying very hard to, comprehend the reason for his forced leave. But yesterday, the Supreme Court has actually given its judgment as far as this particular issue is concerned. And it baffles me because it was a unanimous decision, which means that all the justices who sat on the case actually agreed that the president's action was at variance with what the Constitution
says, yeah.
says. And if you look at some of, although the court is yet to give its full reasons for this particular judgment, at least some of the things we've gathered so far in relation to Article 187 and all that says that, well, the Office of the Auditor General is an independent body. You cannot, you know, try as much as possible to control or give direction to it. And so if you want to remove the Auditor General or even take an action against it, it has to do in accordance with you, the same as, you know, justices of the Supreme Court and all that. And so one is a vindication for the auditor, the former Auditor General, who actually said initially that his accumulated leave was unconstitutional, and also for the civil society organization who took upon themselves to go and travel as long as the Supreme Court to bring finality to the matter. But however, let's also mention that it took too long a time for, you know, the Supreme Court to also bring its
ruling
judgment to this particular, because, well, the Auditor General is finally on retirement, so this particular ruling is moot. For whatever reason, this particular is just for the books, and so it will serve as a future reference. And so, like he said in his interview with us here on Citi TV, you realize that he's particularly worried that the president, who prides himself as, you know, an advocate of the law, a human rights lawyer, that will be breaching, you know, the law. No reason was it just because somebody has not proceeded on his accumulated leave, you find it. And at the time, people were actually trying to read meanings to it because of the fight, you know, Domelevo is leading against corruption in government. You know how this particular issue happened at the time. You know, he had set charge, you know, former senior minister Yao Safumafo over some payments made to a UK firm, Kroll and Associates and all that. So, I mean, it's very difficult it was very difficult at the time to understand why the president was forcing the Auditor General to go on leave. But the highest court of the land, that's the apex court, has actually given its ruling.
And Daniel Domelevo here says that he has no intention of pressing charges against the presidency following the ruling. He also made it known that it's pointless to seek damages in which the taxpayers' money will be used to compensate him.
Exactly why the Supreme Court also didn't, you know, give any consequential orders, because, well, he's retired. I mean, to what end? Well, you hear people say that he should be compensated, but looking at the caliber of person, you know, Daniel Domelevo, I don't think he will even accept this compensation if it's given him. You can tell everything from the kind of person he is, and from the interview you realize that once the Supreme Court has said that it was unconstitutional, exactly what he was pushing for, he feels vindicated and he will want to leave it at that. So this is actually a test case for, you know, some legal jurisprudence. So people will say that, well, we have to study it as it is because he's retired, and so the reliefs that were being sought by the plaintiffs therein cannot be awarded to him. That's why he said that. And I mean, so let's say that, well, it's good time for him as a former Auditor General, and also so we'll be waiting for the full judgment from the Supreme Court, so that we get to know the reasons for this particular judgment by the Supreme Court.
Rightly so. Away from this story, let's bring you what is happening at telecommunication centers and telecom centers in Accra experience dwindling activity amid SIM card registration deadline.
Now, it was evident that there was a significant decrease in activity at various telecommunication centers here in Accra during Citi News' visit for the SIM card re-registration process. Now, this follows a directive issued by the National Communications Authority instructing the Ghana Chamber of Telecommunications to expunge all SIM cards that have not undergone re-registration with Ghana cards from their system. Now, this measure is in accordance with the deadline of May 31st. Fred Deho from Citi News provides further details in the following report. Fred.
Yes, so at the premises of the National Identification Authority, there are hundreds of citizens gathered here waiting patiently to take turns to get their Ghana cards. And the Ghana card is a pre-requirement to the registration of their SIM cards, racing against time to beat the deadline of the 31st May 2023 directive issued by the National Communications Authority. Most of the people you see in the premises here do not have the Ghana card, so their SIM cards obviously may be terminated or totally deleted from the system when they fail to get it re-registered. Let's speak to some of the desperate applicants. What really caused the delay for you to get your Ghana card?
You know, when the whole process started, people were, going down helter-skelter here and there. So I didn't want to, get involved in those stress. At least when it comes down a bit, I'll be able to at least have a free time and do it. I didn't know, and I believe most of the people here too didn't know that it will result in this kind of pressure. My SIM card can only be registered if my Ghana card is ready. So I'm here. That's one of the main reasons why myself and all the people over here have mounted up here to have their card done.
Let's speak to some of the people here. Hello, madam. Okay, you are in a queue, this long queue. When are you hoping to get your card registered?
Oh, today. Oh, I want it today.
You want it today?
Yeah.
And if it doesn't happen today, what will you do?
Oh, it will worry me because I wasn't in the country before they started the process. So I just came on and I have to do it.
This whole queue you see leads all the way to one of the registration points. These people are equally believing to get their Ghana cards by end of day. Have you misplaced it or you are now doing a new registration?
I'm doing a new one.
Why delay till this time?
No, by then I went there to do it, but then the queue is too huge. So I took my time to do it later on. And then I heard they said they want to cancel our SIM cards. So I wanted to do it now. Now see the queue. Initially, they were not paying. And then they spread it all around the country. Now we are paying. They are doing it just in one place. That makes sense.
It makes sense.
How?
The sense it makes is that you were reluctant.
Yeah, fine. Now that you are...
accept your faults first.
I've accepted my faults.
The thing was brought to your doorstep to get it done. You didn't do it. Now, and even that one was free, like you mentioned.
Yeah, it was free.
Now you're going to pay almost 300 Ghana cedis for it.
Yeah.
And you think that is the best for you?
No, see, it has happened already. The harm has been caused already.
Have you registered your SIM card?
No, please. Till I get my Ghana card, I can register my SIM.
So why choose the last hour?
As I was saying, we were very busy. We don't do our own work. So you need to ask permission if it is given to you before you can go on.
Meanwhile, Professor Ken Ajimane-Tefua reacted to the concerns of the Ghana card applicants.
We see a phenomenon by which whenever SIM card re-registration deadlines are extended, then the registration points, the additional registration point, that is additional to the registration, the NIA offices, all become ghost towns. But whenever the deadline is approaching, then we have a situation where we have an avalanche of demands and in some cases people almost stampeding. That's part of the reality, even though this is at a cost. The NIA head office here was set up as a premium registration center.
I visited some SIM card registration centers in Accra on the last day of the exercise. The numbers were few. Some SIM card registrants explained why they delayed in registering their SIM cards.
I haven't been around, so I came purposely for the registration. So I have to be going back. I think there was a bit delay in the system capturing my palm and all that. Other than that, I think it's been smooth.
So I have done mine already. Because of the COVID, our office bought some SIM card and we had to register them in our names. And they've started calling me to do the activation for them. If not, they will can't work. That's the reason why I'm here today.
So you've done your personal one?
I've done my personal one, yes. I have two of that. I've done all of them.
I didn't choose the last day. The reason I was here for the last day is 3 years ago when I did my Ghana card, it was nowhere to be found. I've been chasing there every month. I've been going there. So finally I have no choice to go and lie to the police that my Ghana card is missing, because a friend told me he did the same before he got his home. So I went to the police station to tell them my Ghana card is missing, and they give me
police extract.
Police extract, and they give me police extract. So I came to the office and I thought it was free. I paid 110 cedis again before they did it for me. So that is it. If suppose it's not because of the SIM, I will not bother to have the Ghana card.
A number of people you see in the premises of the National Identification Authority at this moment would know their fate as to whether their SIM cards that were supposed to be registered with the Ghana card will still belong to them or not. A number of them here are still complaining and struggling to go through the process to get their Ghana card, racing against time to be able to register their SIM cards as directed by the National Identification Authority. My name is Fred Duo, reporting from the NIA headquarters for Citi News.
So the deadline was May 31. The question is, would it be extended again? This exercise started in October 1, 2021. There were extensions. Several grace periods were given to a number of people to go get their SIM cards re-registered. Some have attributed it to the fact that they were busy, they've not been able to get their Ghana card. Others have said that, okay, the queues are long, amongst others. But, Ni, what do you make of this? Because it looks like the government wants to ensure that everybody gets his or her SIM card re-registered. But there are some individuals who still do not have their SIM cards re-registered as at now.
Largely for these persons is the fact that they've not been able to acquire their Ghana cards. And it's obvious from the report that just played that for a number of people who have not been able to re-register their SIM cards is because they do not have their Ghana cards. And for some of them, the challenges acquiring your Ghana card is what is actually putting them off. And so the NIA, for example, when the finance minister went to parliament sometime last year, gave the indication that, well, I think it's actually this year, gave the indication that monies will be made available to ensure that, you know, the NIA is able to print more cards. And so today we are learning that about some 9 million SIM cards risk, you know, deactivation. And the problem here is that because they do not have their SIM card, their Ghana card, they are unable to register. But once they are able to get their SIM, their Ghana card, they can still go ahead and do, you know,
because a conversation with the boss of the Chamber of Telecommunications Chamber, Ken Ashigbe, he stated that if you get your Ghana card, you can go in there and do the re-registration. And also, people are having concerns about whether our mobile money will be taken away.
Well, they said your mobile money is still active. Yeah, it's still safe. Yeah. And so, for me, we want to also blame the fact that, well, Ghanaians like this last minute hitches and all that, and so some of them would just want to wait and then wait till the time is near before they go ahead and, you know, re-register their SIM. Be as it may, the fundamental issue is if you don't have your Ghana card, you will not be able to register. So let's put in more effort and ensure that a lot of people are actually able to get their Ghana card so that they can go ahead with the re-registration. It's for the good reasons, because you know how, you know, susceptible, you know, our SIM cards have been to, you know, fraud and other fraudulent activity. But if you are putting a timeline to, you know, re-registration, but you have not put a timeline to when people can actually get their Ghana card, that's where the problem.
I think the boss of NIA has also stated that their outfit do not work with timelines.
Exactly, yes. But the NCA and the Ministry of Communication is actually putting a timeline
on the re-registration.
On the re-registration, which, so we have always said that, well, the Ministry of Communication, the NCA, and even the NIA, they must sit together and see how they are able to resolve this issue. Because if re-registration has a timeline, and then also getting your Ghana card is something that you can go in for it anytime. Really, you are not helping people who are actually having struggles with, you know, the acquisition of their Ghana card. Because you go in there, people say that, well, I go in there, they tell me that my Ghana card is not here, it's at the head office. I go to the head office, it's not. So if these processes are not made in a seamless manner, they are not made more friendly for people to acquaint themselves with it and then have a stress-free, you know, acquisition of Ghana card, you still have a lot of people not re-registering their SIMs, and you can't punish them by deactivating through no fault of theirs.
Well, so the deadline elapsed on May 31, and what we know that now that some 9 million unregistered SIM cards have been deactivated by telecommunication firms in Ghana. If yours has been deactivated, well, the good news is you can still acquire a Ghana card and go to the telecommunication center and get it registered, and you'll be back online. You're still watching CNR Extra here. Let's bring you some more stories and let's take you to Assin North, where the NPP is hopeful of winning the by-elections.
Some politics and go to the NPP because its national youth wing says it will deliver victory for the party in the Assin North by-election. Now, this follows a declaration of the seat vacant and subsequent communication to the Electoral Commission. The Commission has set June 27 to hold the by-election. Citi News' Hansen Ajiman reports.
The Assin North by-election will be the second of such elections to be held after the 2020 general elections. The parliamentary seat was won by the NDC, but declared vacant after it was proved in court that the NDC's candidate James Jache owed allegiance to Canada at the time of filing his nomination. The situation has reduced the NDC seats to 136, while the NPP holds 137 currently. The NPP won the Kumawu seat on May 23 massively, following the demise of its MP Philip Baswa. The ruling party is hoping to replicate this in Assin North. At a press conference, the national youth organizer of the NPP, Salam Mustafa, assured that the youth wing will work to deliver victory.
Very soon, there will be another by-election in the Assin North constituency. We are ready for it. This past weekend, I was in the constituency and I was amazed at the level of development that this government has undertaken there. Superb first-class roads, beautiful astroturf, water projects, schools, just to mention but a few. We are going to Assin North, and let me make a bold declaration that we are going to win it. We are going to win it hands down, just like we did in the Kumawu by-election.
The press conference is part of a set of media engagements dubbed the Truths and Facts Forum. The youth wing is hoping to use to propagate the works of the government. At the first session, the youth wing jumped to the defense of the finance minister and applauded him for his role in securing the IMF deal.
National Youth Wing stands with the Minister for Finance, Ken Oforiatta. We say, Ayuko sir, for the hard work you have put in to ensure Ghana bounces back to its feet. Before COVID-19 struck, this same economy under the same man was celebrated as the fastest growing economy in the world. If through no fault of his, but the fury of Mother Nature, whom a major war in Eastern Europe, there is a downturn. We believe sincerely his portion is not opprobrium and unjustified vilification. Rather, he needs encouragement to get it right.
Salam Mustafa urged Kenyans to keep faith in the Akufo-Addo government as he touted some of the achievements of the government.
That this government, led by Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, has done so much that no administration in the history of Ghana can beat. In terms of infrastructural development, our media friends, for the want of time, we cannot enumerate all the projects being done by this government, but let me highlight a few. The recently held 66th Independence Anniversary Parade in Ho was held at the plush new Youth Resource Center constructed by this government, overlooking the mountains in Volta. Very beautiful.
So the Electoral Commission has set June 27, 2023 to organize the by-elections in Assin North constituency. Well, the NPP is hoping to win the seat. Likewise, the NDC is also hoping to win the seat. This seat is, in my description, I think is a swing seat. It goes in favor of the NDC or in favor of the NPP, looking at the history of elections that have been conducted in that particular constituency.
And that history suggests that NPP has won it 4 times, and then also the NDC 3 times. And so you want to say it's a swing seat. But if you look at the discussions and you follow how we actually got here, a lot of people actually think that, well, the election is actually going to favor the NDC more than the NPP, especially because of the controversy that surrounded, that particular area. And today we are learning that the NP who was at the center of former MP who was at the center of this
James
Jachikwesi has actually declared his intention to rerun in that particular election. And for me, I see it as sympathy voting coming in here, because a lot of the constituents will think that, well, we voted for him because of citizenship issues. He has to be removed from parliament and all that. So people are actually going to go all out and then vote for James Jachikwesi. And some of the posters have also predicted a slight win for the NDC in this particular by-election, which the EC has set for June 27, 2023. Unlike Kumewu, where we all knew that it was going to favor the NPP because of the trends there. This is going to be a different case, if you ask me. And you hear the NPP going all out, saying all manner of things that they are going to. I just want to say that they have to work if they really want to take over the seat from the NDC. It's not going to be a walk in the park.
Well, the NPP has said that from all the work they've done there, they hope that electorate will reward them after doing some good job in the constituency.
But you must also know that sometimes the voter responsiveness is not only about, what you've done in the area. Sometimes voters in a particular constituency have actually taken an entrenched position on which party they want to vote for. And so it's not all about development. But there are instances where parties do not, fulfill their manifesto promises in constituency, but they are able to win the seat regardless. And so for me, I think what is going to determine this particular race is the whole, issues surrounding the removal of James Jachikwesi and not the achievements of the NPP or that.
The voters will decide. June 27, the voters will decide who becomes the member of parliament for Assin North constituency. You're still watching CNR Extra here on Citi TV. Still to come. Ghana National Fire Service launches investigation into fire outbreak at Madina Junction in the Greater Accra region, which led to the destruction of over 150 structures. Kindly stay with us. We'll be back with more stories.
If you're a whiz kid that collects straight A's in your sleep, a brainy brains that aces quizzes without even trying, or a clever clogs that knows just about everything, then there's one more battle you have to win: the Literacy Challenge. The nationwide search for the best junior high student is on. Think it could be you going home with 10,000 Ghana cedis and a glitzy trophy? Then, in not less than 600 words, write a story that ends with the following statement: the happiest people do not have the best of everything, they make the best of everything they have. Stories should be written in your own handwriting with the deadline of Saturday, the 15th of July, 2023 in mind. Submissions must include an endorsement by a parent or guardian and their full contact details. And once you're done, shoot off your entries to the front desk of Citi TV or Citi FM. Or you can send entries to PO Box GP 14123 Accra Central. For more inquiries, call 0558 973 973. The Literacy Challenge 2023 is powered by Citi TV, supported by Citi FM, and is sponsored by Ghana National Gas Company.
Many thanks for staying with us here on CNR Extra. Let's bring you some more stories. And the campaign team of Alan Kojo-Kyerematen says that the former Trades Minister has earned the support of the flag bearer of the New Patriotic Party. Let's bring you that insight.
The campaign team of Alan Kyerematen says the former Trade Minister has earned the spot of flag bearer of the New Patriotic Party. They made this known when some market queens in parts of the country footed the cost of the nomination form and accompanied the team to pick the form on behalf of Alan Kyerematen. There's more in this report.
Alan Kyerematen becomes the 8th person to pick the forms for the NPP presidential primaries. The other 7 are Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, Kojo Opoku, Boache Jako, Kwabene Japan, Dr. Kofi Kunedu Apreku, Dr. Owusu Efriye Akoto, and Adenimo. Just like most of the other 7, Alan Kyerematen was not present when the form was picked. His campaign team was accompanied by some market queens across the country who support his bid. According to the team, the market women footed the cost of the nomination form.
Today we've seen a wonderful expression of support from market queens who promised Alan several months ago that whenever he was ready to become president, they would be ready to support him. And that one way they would support him would be to mobilize their capital and pay for his forms. True to their word, when they were told that nominations had been opened, they were formally informed, because it was a promise. They chose to fulfill their promise.
The campaign team says delegates of the New Patriotic Party will reward Alan Kyerematen for his dedication and sacrifices to the party.
Adru also has a basis. It's not just about Adru also. It is based on his long service to the party, political maturity achieved from serving the party over several years in different capacities. It is from being a foundation member of the party at a very young age, and then bringing together resources in the form of YEF to help nurture the party and stabilize the party and grow the party.
Spokesperson for the team, Yabuaben Asamoah, says Alan Kyerematen is the most reliable candidate going into the 2024 elections.
We dare say that his service in establishing a local resilient economy has helped us in this time that we have issues with the IMF. More importantly, his vision is that which makes it Edrunoso. Because his vision of industrializing Ghana means that we are going to another level. We are not going back to the IMF economy. We are going to a $60 billion economy. So those are the things. He's the only one who has put out his vision.
With Alan Kojo-Kyerematen picking the forms to contest for the NPP flag bearer position means that it is left with the likes of Kennedy Ohene Ejapon and Joe Gate, who have already made their intentions known but are yet to pick their forms. Reporting for Citi News, Hansen Ajiman.
So a number of individuals have also picked up forms, also hoping to win the flag bearership position of the party. We know of that of the Vice President, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia. We know of the former Agric Minister, Dr. Efriye Akoto, amongst others. But the exercise for the elections, we know that it will be happening this year, November 4, and the picking up of the forms is expected to end by June 24, 2023.
Yeah, and Philip, for Alan Kyerematen, you know, this is actually not going to be the first time he's going to, you know, run for. In fact, he is one of the forerunners as far as this particular, you know, election is concerned. And the argument has been that, well, he's had a lot of, you know, things to offer. And then just like the Vice President Bawumia, the race is actually going to be between these two persons, at least from what political watchers have told us and what you have also been seeing on this particular, you know, election. And to have market women picking up your phones for you actually paying an order, maybe because of his former role as trades minister, he's been able to relate well with these market women and these traders, for which reason they are pushing for his selection as flag bearer of the election. And 9 people, we are made to understand, have expressed interest in it. 7 have actually picked up their forms, 2 more to go. We know of, Alan Tremantin himself, former Greek Minister, Ifria Kutu Kwabne Japan, former General Secretary of the party, Boache Jakun, former Energy Minister, Denimo Apriku, and then also the Vice President, Bamia. So we are left to Joe Gatti, former Railways Minister, and also Kennedy Ohine Japan, Member of Parliament for, Assin Central. So these are the 2 left. So if these 2 also pick up their forms, then 9 officially are going into that race, which has been slated for, November. But the actual exercise for the picking up of forms and all the process will actually end this month.
Former Railways Minister,
yes,
Jogati is expected to pick today. So we'll be monitoring that particular development.
Let's see how it goes. We're having 9 years. Sometimes it was 17 people contesting, and then you know what people say. That the NDC saying all manner of things, that 17 people have actually met to go and select their leaders. And so this one, 9, is going to be an interesting race.
It's going to be an interesting contest.
It's going to be an interesting contest. Yes. So let's see who will drop out of the way. People are going to merge and all that. So let's see how this particular.
So it's going to be an interesting race. We are looking out for who is going to be the flag bearer of the NPP to meet the candidate of the National Democratic Congress in the 2024 elections. You are still watching CNR Extra here. Let's bring you some more stories. And the Ghana National Fire Service has launched investigations into fire outbreak at Madina Race Junction in the Greater Accra region, which led to the destruction of over 150 structures.
Ghana National Fire Service has begun investigations to ascertain the cause of a fire outbreak at Madina Race Junction in the Greater Accra region on Tuesday. The fire gutted over 50 containers used for both residential and commercial purposes and about 100 wooden structures. Now, this is the second fire incident recorded in the area this year. We have more in this report filed by Citi News' Fauzu Masawudi and Red.
The fire, which started in the night on Tuesday, gutted several shops and other structures which served as places of abode for hundreds of people.
I was at home around 11 o'clock when I heard a call that the place is on fire. So I drove here and I saw that my place has been consumed by the fire, and there was nothing I could do. So I just watched it as the fire brought all down.
So you have literally lost everything you had in
entirely everything that was in the shop here.
At what cost, roughly?
In fact, I've been trying to calculate, but anytime I calculate, I start to forget because other things start popping in again. In fact, it's running to millions of Ghanaian cedis because as you see, the shop is almost about 20 feet by 24 feet by 24 feet.
When Citi News visited the scene, some residents and business owners were counting their losses following the inferno. 2 people who were affected, Frederick Apia and Kamal Mohammed, spoke to Citi News.
I've been trying to calculate, but anytime I calculate, I start to forget because other things start popping in again. In fact, it's running to millions of Ghanaian cedis because as you see, the shop is almost about 20 feet by 24 feet by 24 feet. And it was full of spare parts, both engine parts and then lubricants. Yes.
I think a lot of money, clothes, shoes, slippers, and perfumes, etc. Yeah.
So, what's the estimate, roughly, the amount of money you might have lost from this, sad incident?
To be honest, it's a lot of money. I need to sit down and calculate everything. It's a lot of money.
Data from the National Fire Service indicates that a total of 54 metal containers used for residential and commercial purposes and about 100 wooden structures were razed by the fire. With widespread uncertainties about the cause of the outbreak, the fire service says it is carrying out investigations to ascertain the cause. Timothy Efum speaks for the Ghana National Fire Service.
As such now, we've not been able to pinpoint the exact location of the origin of the fire. Okay. So once that is done, we'll have to take some samples to the lab for test. Then we'll be able to determine exactly what caused the fire. From what we have done, we thought nothing of that sort should happen over there. But once it is happening, Then we are involving their leadership for the education. Unfortunately, this one has also occurred. So going forward, we are going to deepen the relationship that we have with their leadership, who will then coordinate effectively with the rest.
So this is a very sad situation, but the Ghana National Fire Service is conducting investigations into this particular issue. Which investigation, we don't know the findings as at now, but we hope and pray that whatever the investigations will be made known of it, so that traders can also be very much informed and get themselves, prepared and try and prevent these activities. We've seen one happening at KJT, another happening at Makola Market, that is in Accra, and a number of them.
And for me, Philip, investigation is good, but beyond the investigation, what lessons do we learn as far as these infernos are concerned? Because time without number, we record a number of fire outbreaks, and the fire service will come in, say that, well, we are conducting investigations, but we do not get to see the end of the investigations and the findings thereof. And so it appears we just pay lip service to it. We are conducting investigation, and then the matter is left to die.
But you see, the thing is, even if the Ghana National Fire Service conducts the investigations, and these traders or we citizens or the public, we are unable to utilize what is in the investigations or the education that they give us.
And that's why enforcement comes in, because you don't expect that you waste public resources to conduct investigations, ascertain the cause of these fire outbreaks, get to know what the real reasons are, and then you just leave it there for people to go about their normal duties. Are you saying that, well, it's as a result of the springing up of these makeshift structures and also these illegal structures, what I want to call kiosification everywhere in this part of the city?
Everybody wants to be in business.
Everybody wants to be in business, so everybody gets a piece of land anywhere,
mount something, a structure,
put up a structure there, and for me, usually you realize that these persons are actually doing all manner of illegal connections, which, if you are not even careful, attribute or contribute to the fire outbreaks that we see. And so if the fire service is properly interested in these investigations that they carry out, it must be the order of the day that they must ensure that these makeshift structures are not put up anywhere haphazardly. People do not get away with it easily. Are you saying that, well, we want to move these structures away from where they are, find alternative means for these people to go about their normal duty? What kind of illegal connections do we have there? What kind of safety practices are they putting in there? Are they cooking in these structures? Are they doing all manner of things? These are some of the things we should be expecting.
This issue brings together a number of stakeholders to ensure that the fire situation is prevented. But, well, the stakeholders should take it up. Away from this story, and there's a troubling issue in the Greater Accra region, specifically in the capital, where a number of street lights are off.
And road users in the national capital have expressed concern over the increasing darkness on major roads caused by faulty street lights. The malfunctioning lights have created an opportunity for robbery activities to thrive. Citi News' Daniel Dromensa has more on this report, read by Eno Safo.
Just 4 months ago, Citi News investigated the issue of faulty streetlights in various parts of Accra. Several stretches, including the Madina Denton Road, Kolebu Mortuary Road, parts of Independence Square and 28th February Road, suffered from total darkness. Despite rechecking over the weekend, the situation remains unchanged. Notably, in front of the Supreme Court building, opposite the Dr. Kwame Nkrumah Presidential Library, vehicles were seen speeding in the dark, relying solely on their headlights. Bernard Aqua, a pedestrian who frequents the area, shared a near-death experience.
Yes, these are the routes I go home with, so I pass here most often. Yes.
Okay. So how often? Can you tell us how often?
Almost every day. Every day.
So, have you noticed that some of the street lights are not working?
Oh yeah, I've noticed. One time the street light that was working. One day I was walking, I saw it was just blinking on and off, on and off. So when I came and I saw it, I was even surprised. But this side, most of the times, is off. And you see, there are a lot of mad people around. It makes the place dangerous. Last time I was chased by armed robbers. Yes.
On this same stretch?
Yes.
So, can you tell us about it? What time were you walking here and then you had that experience?
I think around 8:30 p.m. So as I was walking, and because it's dark, people try to do evil things in the dark. So as I was walking, and I turned my back, I noticed two guys following me. But I just decided that maybe they are just normal people following me. But as I was going, I realized that they were still following me. So I decided to just cross the road, and I saw that they were chasing me. It was dangerous. I was nearly knocked down by a car.
Frank Eduose, a second-hand clothes vendor at the Tema station, revealed that he avoids walking alone on the walkway. During a drive from the Supreme Court to Independence Square and Osu Castle, some streetlights were fixed, while others remained dysfunctional. The team then proceeded to the historic 28th February Road, where streetlights were installed along the edges, but not in the median. The lights were mounted on electric poles installed on the road's edges. Parts of the La General Hospital Road leading to the Teshi District's police headquarters were also engulfed in darkness due to the ongoing Labish Road expansion project. Isaac Kweku, a taxi driver, expressed his frustration. Further along the route, there was total darkness from the La Veterinary Services Department to the Dankwa Circle roundabout. Parts of the Dankwa Circle roundabout leading to the Ghana National Fire Service headquarters also lacked illumination. Darkness prevailed from the North Kanishi roundabout to the frontage of Awudome Cemetery. Moreover, some parts of the old Abusokai Central Mosque leading to the Kolebu Mortuary Road were completely dark. The Flamingo Junction to parts of Kanishi First Light also lacked proper lighting. Concerned road users shared their thoughts with Citi News.
Oh, if the street light is not working, when the people are trying to cross the road, sometimes they can make an attempt and then you see ping and all those stars. The last time like this, I think there was a robbery going on around here, and it's all because there's no light. They snatched someone's phone along the roadside. It's costing a lot, but then we don't know what to do. From here to, I think, First Light, this is Flamingo, the road, there's no street light working since 4 years back. So if you are walking on this stretch, you should be very careful.
How often do you use this stretch?
Almost every day. But this street lights, I think it's off for over 3.5 years now. You report it to the authority, they will tell you they will come. Anytime you go, you contact them, they will come. But still now, when in the night, you see a little robbing here. People mobile phone will be taken. They put knife on them. Sometimes laptop, the student laptops and their back, the motors pick, they will pick a big, I can say, machete on them, and which it has gone on for years. Now I don't know what currently the authorities is doing. You'll be arriving sometimes, even traffic light is off. You call them, they will come. But still, some of them are broken as we speak now.
The Citi News team continued to Hansonic Junction in Dansoman, where they observed non-functional streetlights installed in the median of the road. There was no illumination on the streets from Darkuman Junction through Odoko, Sakaman to Malam Junction. Dark areas included Barnyard, Hong Kong, Abrantia Spot, Achimota Police Station, Achimota Old Station through to Alaji Junction were also dark. A taxi driver, Charles Kayose, lashed out at the government for their failure to act.
And Penfo Kruma be Madina say no, because say forest. Free Odoko, Ebesiko Malam Johnson. Just what you want to say. Yana me crano, just a medium home and say Jimmy Samu said the Bayu. That's what I say. And you know, but so man, I team nice and Penfo being team, and say any criminal can roam about. You not cry here. This one, your foot in no musa. A friend say, in so far, you fan for Rosa and yet, so Penfo the cast in the mood be a
Meanwhile, Samuel Ni Ejay-Teria, the chief executive of the Korle-Klottey Municipal Assembly, acknowledged that although the responsibility for installing streetlights does not solely fall on the Assembly, they are making efforts to find solutions.
As to the streetlights, we have portions of the municipality or some specific streets up to about maybe 20 or so that are handled through the Ministry of Energy. The first set of roads to mention that comes under this is the ceremonial roads, which you may not find in most other assemblies. Then we have some busy road, dual carriage roads, etc., that also are managed through the Ministry of Energy. So, in some cases, although we are still not directly responsible, as the city authorities, we either notify Ministry of Energy, and also we have taken steps in some cases. Look out for electricity poles that we can do some additional lights and put those lights there to make sure the place is lighting up.
According to Pearl Adusu-Satekla, the Public Relations Officer for the National Road Safety Authority, discussions have taken place during a stakeholder meeting. She revealed to Citi News that a new consultant engineer has been engaged to design a comprehensive national framework for managing streetlights across the country.
Driving in darkness is not that helpful when we talk about road safety promotion in the country. And so, as you rightly said, we have engaged our sister agencies who are the Ghana Highway Authority, Energy Commission, and the rest. And what they told us, or what we gathered from them, is that there is a framework to change the whole street lights framework system in the country. And so they have a consultant who is helping them to put up the new framework to suit modern trends. You know, such things, it's a process, it's not an event. And so they will do procurement and all those things. And so far, honestly, as we sat, we've given them some time to report back. They've not yet reported as to the level they've gone to. And so we are hoping that they will come up with the new development, how far they've gone to. But we are hoping that within in the medium term, we'll see a new lighting system in the country very soon.
This is a very big issue with the Energy Ministry and the various stakeholders. I'm pleading with you. The issue at Banyard is becoming worse. For some months now, close to like 4 months, the street lights, the traffic lights aren't working. The Awoshi Police Command is complaining several times because they have to deploy their men to be there every now and then. And even if the police officers are not there late in the night, you find this young gentleman who will be there trying to get the place under control. But you would also find individuals, that is drivers, driving at a very top speed across the road because it's an intersection. So if the various stakeholders are unable to fix the situation, we aren't going to record, or we are soon going to record something there that is not going to be in the best interest of the entire country. And then we are going to find the big men going, visiting the place and commensurating with people who have been involved in accident. But I think that the various stakeholders must be up and doing with this particular
issue. And I can imagine your frustration as a driver. You use the stretch every now and then. I also use the stretch every now and then. And for me, I think it's more than 4 months. And I can imagine the frustration of the police officials over there. And this particular issue that we're talking about, we know what the challenge is. Issue of maintenance, issue of funding and all that. I remember sometime in 2021, the National Road Safety Authority actually brought out a statement that said that more than half, almost half of the street lights in the country are not working, and the Greater Accra region actually topped the list. And so it's not as if you do not know what the issue is. And for me as a domestic user of electricity, I know that there's a component in my electricity bill that has to do with, you know, street lighting and all that. But
I understand.
What do we see of these funds? So I think the relevant stakeholders must also, because look, we are even recording broad day robberies. How much more robberies that occur at night because of, you know,
so please, the various stakeholders,
lights.
so the Energy Ministry, Roads Ministry, Transport Ministry, assemblies, you all have to be doing the work right so that these street lights and traffic lights will be working. This is how we wrap up today's edition of CNR Extra here on CCTV. My name is Latte Philip. I did this with me, Latte. Many thanks for your time and keep watching CCTV.